My name is Miranda Joyner. I am the CEO and co-founder of Succeed and Elevate. We are a nonprofit organization that is around to help small business owners to manage their burnout and anxiety and stress as they grow as an organization. So I'm really excited to be here, be partnered with BeanPath to bring you the Tech Talks every second Saturday of the month. And this particular Tech Talk. It's so easy to say TED Talk. I've been watching TED Talks for years, but I love to play on the Tech Talk. But this particular Tech Talk is with a really cool fella. I would say that I met a while ago, ironically, at the Bean Path. And so I want to welcome out David Muhammad, and we're going to get into a great conversation around devices, around repair devices, around the company that was created around this, as well as some entrepreneurial journey stuff. I think we're going to dive into the tech side of it, as well as just some practical stuff that we all can think about when it comes to how we show up in the tech space. So welcome, David, to the space. And I would love for you to start out by telling me anything about you. If you have like an introductory bio or a thing that you want people to know about you, I would love to start there.
Well, I really appreciate you, Miss Miranda, and thank you very much for having me on the show here. Well, let's see. I started the business when I was technically 15, 16 years old. I graduated from high school at a very early age. I hit the ground running not too long after that, back in 2015. And initially, the business kind of started off as me breaking my own phone. And I handed it off to my dad because, I wanted him to fix it. And basically, in so many words, he was like, fix it yourself. So I did. I fixed it and I enjoyed the process. It was very aesthetically pleasing to be inside of a mechanical phone trying to fix it. I think back then, I think the set of phones that were out was like the fives and 5Cs. Those are ancient now. But now it really made a satisfying experience. And I finally had found something that I had enjoyed. I had did a lot of things before that. I had did bakery. I worked at a bakery. I worked at an automotive facility. I worked at a print shop. I did a graphic design. I worked at a graphic design business. So I was kind of good at a lot of things, but none of them really made me kind of like really enjoy it until I opened up that phone and fixed it. And so ironically, I actually wanted to be a doctor. I did not want anything to do with anything but being a doctor until I found out all the stuff that you had to go through to be one. And I was like, oh no, that's not for me. When I heard that it was going to take me about 8 to 10 years to officially become one, when I heard the amount of time it would take to go through school, when I heard about the amount of pressure, I'm like, I gotta go through all of that. No, I'm good. So that's actually where the name came from, iDoctor, because iPhone is what we had specialized initially, specifically on. We specialize in a variety of electronics now, but initially that's what we were doing. And so because I had that passion for becoming a doctor, I felt like I was doing surgery on devices, and it made me feel very good to know that I was helping people. Literally, I was helping people in their lives because I did not understand the gratitude of individuals who really depends on these everyday devices for their everyday life. Some people depend on this stuff to, who has diabetes, some people who have like glucose problems, some people who monitors their blood pressure, monitors their sleep, and who has a work lifestyle that's very busy like yourself. And so, they depend on these things very much so. And so to be able to be the ambulance of the everyday work life or personal life of us being able to just come in and save the day, that really does mean a lot to me to be able to do that. So I feel like I have technically entered a realm of life that somewhat resembles a doctor, but not necessarily a doctor that work on humans, but I work on devices. So if I were to ever explain myself to a child in the best way possible, I think I would explain it to him in that way, is that I'm a doctor, but instead of working on humans, I work on devices like these, iPads, phones, TVs, whatever you have it. So that's just a
Nice.
brief introduction.
No, that's beautiful. And that is actually, you actually chopped down about two of my intro questions. So I love that you went into that story
Awesome.
very
Awesome.
naturally. The origin story of how we start businesses is always, as someone who talks to business owners all the time, there's always almost every single time it stems from something that happened in our lives that triggered a need or a desire. Either we had something in abundance or we had a lack of something. And then people create businesses out of those things. And so I love hearing that story about your dad telling you to take, well, giving it back to you, and then you taking matters into your own hands and creating this space. As a person that's shifting into a tech space as an entrepreneur, I want to know what before we get into like the technical conversations around devices, because I really want to travel down the road of repair things and things that you've seen as far as trends in the technical space, and what are some of the things we can do to help keep our phones in better shape to prevent some of the spaces where we would need repairs. I want to know, as an entrepreneur shifting into that space, what would you say were some of the bigger challenges you faced when you started this business?
Mm, well, that's easy. Um, Try to convince somebody that I know what I'm doing as a young person. I think that was one of the biggest challenges there. You know, when you are so passionate about something that you know to do, it sometimes can be very challenging to convince others of your expertise at a young age. You know, I told you I had graduated from high school at a young age, which means I think that people probably started to know a little bit about me when I was 18, 19 years old, and trying to convince somebody that you know, you're in a profession, you're an entrepreneur, you're this, you're that at such a young age is kind of unheard of for people my age. You know, you might hear that for people a lot older, but at that time, it was kind of frustrating and very challenging to, you know, really walk the path of showing people the best way to manage their phones, to fix their phones, to, you know, do the things that they do with their devices in everyday life. I would say that that was probably one of the most challenging ones. The next challenging thing was probably keeping up with everything. I did not understand the I don't think I understand the reach of how fast technology advances, but technology is literally growing and advancing fast just as much as every year. And trying to keep up with that was very challenging because, you know, if we ran into something that we may not have, we know the product, but the product may have changed before we even knew it. And so that's something that we are still, it's not as much of a challenge as it used to be because we do research now. We do very extensive research. We do a lot of things that will help us not necessarily be surprised about a lot of things that come into play. So those are the things that come to mind right now when it comes to challenges. But honestly, you know, it's used for the most part. It's been a breeze, and I think mainly is because you know it's something that I enjoy and I know my team enjoys as well. It's you know it's actually a really good blessing. You know, they always say that when you're working, make sure that you're doing something that you love so that it's not necessarily a job. It's more of a passion for you. And so that's what it's been for me. And I can only think of those two challenges, but nothing pressing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. How long have you been in business?
It'll be almost 10 years this year.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah, so 10 years in May.
10 years in May.
Yes.
And what was there? Was there an aha moment for you when you were like, okay, that you realized that this goes from something you were trying to do to realizing you had a sustainable business? Was there a particular moment in the journey?
Yes, I had this project recently where, you know how you, when you're going through, when you're in the business, whatever that you're doing, one of the things that I will say, and now it makes me think about another challenge. I was not very engaging when it came to people. You know, I kind of was like, you know, hey, I'm here to fix your phone or I'm here to fix your iPad. That's it. I don't want to do I don't want anything else to do. I don't want anything else to do with you. But it's not that I was mean or anything. It's just that I wasn't used to engaging to people, engaging with people. So, and I was kind of a shy person. So eventually I had to kind of come out of my shell enough to be able to push myself out there. And so I have met and have made contacts with so many people over the years that I want to say at least two or three contacts has made my business completely turn around into a very prosperous business because of the contacts and some of the things that they have put me in a position to be able to do. So recently I had one of my contacts from Shurian that I had met. I had went to this event. I had met him. He was a cool guy. We had been talking on the phone for the like 3 years prior. We had never seen each other, but we were kind of just like, hey, how's it going? You know, what's going on in the tech world? Man, I got this going on. I got that going on. You really should come through. I never did came through. So one day I finally came through to this event that he was at, and we connected very well. He saw my vision, and so recently we had this Microsoft Surface project of I think 6,000 pieces. And it was a very industrial project. It was my first industrial project that we had worked on. I put a team together. We finished that project, not necessarily in a timely manner because of so many challenges that we ran into, but when those crates coming from a big 18-wheeler truck and there's all of these boxes coming into my building, and you have, you know how you might go into a warehouse and there's like all of these boxes stacked up all over the place and you got all these different aisles. When I saw that in my business, that was a moment where I was like, man, this is really taking off. I really need to get like I really need to advance into a different level, because I think at the time we had picked up that project, we were still operating as if we were a three or four or five person company, but and we had grew to at least 23 people in the company. And so I think that was a very good moment for me at that particular point. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh, absolutely. And, it's so interesting. I love that you were talking about the connections to people and how you started connecting to people. I tell people all the time that people are currency, their relationships are money.
Yes.
Only, there's
Yes.
more than one ways to get an ROI. It's not always just exchange of cash or services.
Yes.
When you build
Yes.
relationships with people, they can put you in positions to get way more money than you're trying to get in instant short-term exchanges. So it's always good to one, treat people well anyway, just because it's the right thing to do, but also uh, to expand on relationships and make the effort to connect to people, especially when they're reaching out to you. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of teams, you were talking about your team expansion. So you went from a small team to a large team. With the scale of your business and doing this at such a young age, in the beginning, what were the foundational people that you put in place to help you to build this business up? Because I want to ask that question because I think a lot of people start businesses, and there are people that have been doing businesses for 10 plus years and still using like a skeleton crew. So people really struggle with trusting people, bringing people on board. I would love to get your thoughts about what you did there and just some insight to that for people on how to grow a team, and then we can shift into some technical repair stuff.
Woo. Oh man, that's a I'm gonna try to be very I'm gonna try to conclude that story very well. So it actually ended up being it started off being a team of two, literally. Me and this other guy named John.
And y'all
And
were repairing devices.
we were repairing devices, we were traveling to do this. Now, this is the kicker. I had picked up this contract, and one of the things about me, I'm very ambitious, and I do not take no for an answer. So I was trying to, when I was in high school, I knew that I wanted a contract with Asurion. I didn't exactly know why, but I knew that if I had partnered with a insurance company that provided protection for individuals' devices, then that would be my way into creating a huge volume for me. What I did not know is that it was going to happen as fast as it did, and I was not ready for it. But I had no choice because I put my name out there and I put my word out there. So I had picked up this contract with Asurion. I think I did that back in 2017, and I had knew this guy named John who also specialized in doing computers. And so I said, okay, um, how are we going to do this? We didn't have too many vehicles. We only had one. He had one. I had one. And so Asurion demanded that we kind of go all over the place to do these phones. We had to go between Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, and in Mississippi, there was Hattiesburg, there was Brookhaven, there was Macomb, there was Jackson. And we had to manage inventory. We had to manage our customers. We had to file claims in order for us to get paid. We had to do core returns, which is just real quick. That's basically when you repair a phone, The core is actually the screen that you take off, which is the old broken one. Just like if you went to AutoZone to get your battery taken off, they give you a few dollars off if you give them your old battery. It's the same for a phone. And so we had to manage that business for quite a few years, and when we realized that it had became too much for us, we started hiring people. We started getting on Zoom. We put out a post on Indeed. We started hiring people left and right. Um, when it comes to trusting people, I will definitely say it's definitely a bargaining chip because one of the things that we did run into, this is probably like our third set of individuals working for us. We had the first team that we had ended up hiring. There were so many issues and so many things that we didn't actually think about when we first started. Some of it was trial and error. And one of the main things was people using their own vehicles. We created this map and region for all of these technicians to run around the particular region to do these repairs, but they're increasing all of the mileage on their vehicles. And so it created a demand for repairs on a regular basis. And so whenever something came up, we our customers kind of had to suffer from getting the repairs done. So obviously me or John would step in, we would go take care of the repair in a timely manner, but sometimes that was inconvenient. And then, of course, we had some interesting people starting off. So we had to put some documentation in place to make sure that we were hiring a particular quality type of people, so that as we grew, we would be able to deliver, a good amount of customer service. And that's actually one of the things that's one of my missions now. My mission when I first started was just to help people, if something was wrong with their device, I wanted to come and help them. But it's a little bit different now because as I grew into the business, I realized that we are getting away from customer service. It is something that it's becoming non-existent. We're talking to robots now. Those are our customer service representatives. When you try to get something done or you want to accomplish something, whether it's looking for help, trying to figure out where a product is, or you're trying to figure out how to fix something because something on your software is not working right, you're talking to a robot or you're responding to FAQs. And I think that that's something that needs to change because I think as the world advances into technology, we're getting away from that personal human touch of customer service. And so now, um, I'm trying to bring that back because I think that's something that we're going to need in the future. I just believe that people don't think we need it now, but we used to have it, and I don't see why we need to change that. We can change a lot of things, but we shouldn't change humans.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, thank you for sharing that. That is, I think every journey looks different. Every situation looks different, and people are scared to go through the trial and error part. People are wanting to stay on the first go round. They want to get the team that is the team or get the people that are the people. And the relation to relation part is really important about how we pour into the people around us. I agree.
Absolutely.
So very good. And that's good to be able to hear those stories and share those so that people can realize it's okay to go through a few teams and processes there. That's what businesses do. I think we forget that as we live in our bubbles, we feel like things are supposed to be the way we think they are. So thank you for sharing.
Sometimes you gotta just dive in there,
You
you gotta take
do.
a leap of faith. And sometimes I know, some people are very calculated, and I do understand that.
Yes.
They wanna see everything, they want to see every step ahead of them, and that's all fine and dandy. But the more you do that, the less progress you make. So you gotta take action at some point. I do agree with, you having to definitely cross some of your I's and I'm sorry, cross your T's and dot your I's, but you gotta take action. So move forward and get it done. Otherwise, you're gonna stay stuck at some point.
Absolutely. You got to get messy before you can get better. So the only way to get better is to start messy. And so just start the process, jump in the pool. And besides, everybody's out here figuring it out. Literally everybody is out here figuring it out. So that is the sentiment there. Would you say that you have, when it comes to the repairs that you're doing, because you guys, of course, are, for those of you that are joining us, we're talking to David Muhammad, and we're talking about his business as iDoctor. Been in business for 10 years, which I did not know that, starting at a very young age and building a company to repair devices. What would you say out of those 10 years? I'm sure we all have a story or a situation that was like this was weird or this was a unique repair story that stood out to you? You got to pick. I feel like you're trying to pick between a few.
Yeah, I guess yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Because 10 years, 10, out of 10 years, that's a pretty big gap of things to pick out. I would say the one that probably stands out the most, um, it's probably when me and John first started. I'm trying to think about how to tell this story in the most precise way where people understand the significance of how this probably changed some things. Um, well, when we were going to fix this customer's phone, she had a um before COVID, as you know, we were going inside people's houses
Sure.
fixing phones. Then COVID hit, and we had to kind of rearrange our setup and have it to where we could repair the phones inside of our vehicles. And John had a repair he had to go do for a customer who was very anxious to get her device fixed. She was a doctor of some sort. She went to go do a repair for a phone. I'm sorry, she went to go do, I guess, some sort of surgery, and John got ready to do her phone. So he's got the parts and stuff laid out on the table. He's got his toolkit and he's got the customer's phone. And it was the customer's back. Basically, there's two sides of the phone. You've got the back part and then you've got the front part. The front part is the screen and the back part is glass. So John picks up the phone and he gives it to me because I'm getting ready to fix it because he initially he was going to fix it, but I ended up fixing it. He gives it to me. Now I had ordered this back myself. The phone is probably, I think, at S8 Plus or S9 Plus. I got there and I got ready to do the phone, and the back was smaller than the phone itself. So I thought that was weird because I'm trying to figure out why does this back look so small, the one that I ordered. So I put the back on the phone, on the back of the phone, on top of it, just to kind of see what the size of it was. I took it off. I'll put it back on. And I took it off and I put it back on. John looked at me. He said, why do you keep doing that as if the back is going to expand in your mind and it's going to match up with the phone that you have in front of you? And he said, are you going to do some sort of mind trick and make it bigger or something? And then I kind of laughed at myself. I ordered the wrong part, as you can kind of per se. I ordered the wrong part. So we had to come back and do the lady's phone again. She was very understanding. It was all good. I came back and I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. I took the I took the thing out of my bag. I put it on top of the phone. I took it off. I put it on top of the phone. He said, "Are you telling me that you ordered the same wrong part again?" And I was looking at I was really just shaking my head at myself. I was very flabbergasted. We got it right the third time because the customer was very patient. And we bought her, I think I had my sister, she does like a lot of baked goods and stuff. So I bought her some cakes or some cupcakes. I don't remember what I bought her. And it had made me realize that I was juggling with way too much stuff. And I'm ordering parts. I'm dealing with customers. I'm answering the phones. I'm just juggling way too much. And I think that was one of the most pertinent moments in my life where it made me realize I need to start relinquishing some of my duties to other people and delegate. So that I can get some help because I can't do this by myself. So for all of you entrepreneurs that are out there doing this by yourself, even if it's just a team of one or two or three, when you get to those points right there, like I just explained, it's time for you to start relinquishing some of your power. Start sharing some of those duties with people who can help you out because what your business is going to suffer if you don't. And you don't want your customers to have a terrible experience with you every time you go out to whatever that you're doing, whether it's with baking food, doing dinner, or repairing devices or installing things, those were some interesting moments, and there were plenty of them. But that one I think came to mind because every time me and him get together, we always laugh about that.
That's very funny. That's very funny. Two times, three times is a charm. I love it.
Yeah, third time's the charm.
What would you say are some of the most, let's get into talking about device repairs and the actual work for us, those of us that have devices. And I'm sure at any given moment in our lives, we have been frustrated. I know for me, sometimes I get anxiety when my devices, and I used to sell cell phones. And so I used to do minimum repairs. I wasn't going deep dive surgery into repairs, but I worked at a few cell phone companies actually in my younger days. And so repairing devices or like troubleshooting was more than what we did, not repair. I was more of a troubleshooter, like for resolving issues with devices and what are some of the things to do. What would you say starting out as we get into our own experience with devices are some of the most common misconceptions people have about repairing devices and thinking about what that is?
One of the probably the most when you say misconceptions that people have about repairing devices, are you mean them repairing their own devices?
Well, either way. So either like just any misconceptions around this idea of my device isn't working. Because when I think about some of the things that people used to come into the store for, no joke. And I'll keep this as you know, you can imagine people do all types of things on their phone. But people would come and stand in line because certain apps weren't working on their phone. I remember a lady standing in line because her Facebook app wasn't doing a thing, and she came all the way to a cell phone store to stand and to get someone to help her walk through getting apps and things to work on the phone. And while that is a very common thing when you go into the cell phone place, uh, I think when people hear repairing devices, these are to me, okay, you see where I'm going? Okay.
Yeah, I understand. And it's funny you brought that up because one of the stories I was going to say or talk about, I was trying to pick which one I wanted to talk about. Here's a very funny one, and then it's gonna lead into the answer to the question. I can't tell you how many devices we have went to go fix, and it turned out that their screen was not cracked; it was their screensaver because they forgot that when they went to AT&T or when they went to Verizon, that somebody had put a tempered glass screen protector on there. So one of the things that we do run into quite often is when people think that there's something broke, that it people think because something is not working, it's broke. And you'll hear, especially you'll probably see this in a lot of elderly people, and I'm not saying it as an insult, but like sometimes people will say this stupid thing isn't working or this thing isn't working. It's not that, it's just that you don't necessarily know how it works and you don't necessarily know how to fix it or per se. So when you talk about the software and things of that nature, I will say that this is one of the things that we've run into quite a bit, that I think that's why I had kind of made it a mission. We need to educate people because it's very frustrating for a lot of people to have a device and not really understand the full capacity of how to use it, but they're
Okay.
using it to the best of their ability. But not only are they using it to the best of their ability, but when things aren't necessarily going right, it's because they don't necessarily know how to use it to its full functionality. And so now when you're trying to reach out for help, this is where I was talking about the customer service. You're talking to a robot. You're talking to a prompt on the phone. And so
Yeah.
one of the main misconceptions that people have, I think that we do overlook is software. I have had customers who have had pictures that they no longer have on their phone, and it's because they are running out of space. I have had customers who can't download apps on their phone. It's not that the phone's broken, it's because you have no space. And so now you can't download it, but sometimes the phone won't actually tell you that. I've had customers who, when they try to open up an app, the camera doesn't work. It's because you're out of space. So if you want one of the very beginning things that I would say to start is make sure you maintain the space on your phone. Because you can go through everyday life and use that phone and take pictures and do all these different things, download songs, download music, download whatever files and stuff you have on that phone. And then by the time it's run out of space, everything is kind of basically all of it's kind of just falling. Your phone seems like it's falling apart software wise. And now nothing wants to work, or it's slow, or it's not acting right. Your text messages aren't going through right. So maintaining it is, you can start off by maintaining that space. After a month or two, when you start seeing it getting to the point where it's getting full, start you don't look at your trash can and see it overflowing and keep overflowing it with trash. No, you go empty it. So start maybe setting yourself a time once a month or once or twice a month and start debugging that stuff on your computer. It's very simple. But if it's not simple to you, we have technicians who will do that for you as well. That's something that that's the main thing you can start off with is maintaining your storage on your phone, because it will make a difference when it is full. It will, if like a trash can, it'll start stinking, then it'll go through the whole house. Well, it's kind of the same thing with the phone. It'll start malfunctioning on some apps, and then it'll malfunction the whole phone. Then your phone start freezing up. And I think people kind of take misadvantage of their storage and their software too. That's another thing that I think we don't actually maintain well. And, just a reminder to people that, we started this conversation off talking about how much technology advances every year.
Mm.
If you're still walking around with an iPhone 10, upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. We have plenty of options here at iDoctor where you can get a newer phone for a more economical price, as opposed to getting a retail price from AT&T or Verizon. But those phones that have been came out since 5 or 6 years from now, they're becoming obsolete, because you can't do so many things with that phone. You can't go to YouTube, or you can't go to the web browser and go to certain websites, or you can't even listen to certain songs, or you can't even download certain apps that you probably need, because the phone is so old that the software that has come out now, it's not compatible on that phone. And I did a class where I taught my students a little bit about that project. And one of the things that I challenged them on is, why does Apple um, have to upgrade their phones every 2 years? Tell me a little bit more about that. I kind of gave them a little way to kind of write a thesis about it. And one of them had got it pretty much down packed. But as y'all all know, that just about every time Apple comes out with a phone, they're always talking about how they upgraded their chip. That's very important, because they upgrade those chips so that they can be compatible with the amount of software that you're able to download, because they're constantly upgrading their software, their iOS as they call it, and all of the apps that you're using. If they're not going to be compatible with the older software, then they have to be compatible with the newer software. Well, if the newer software is going to be compatible with the apps, then they have to upgrade their chip to make sure it's keeping up with the amount of RAM, with the amount of speed that software demands. So I know I'm probably talking a little bit of gibberish, but I think that I was able to explain that in the most simplest way possible. But that's a very big thing nowadays, Miss Miranda, is storage for right now, that I can start off with that's very simple.
Oh, no, that's very good. That this idea that the difference between a software update and what actually needs to be repaired on your device,
Right.
that is exactly what it is. That's a big one, right? To understand the difference between the two, what needs repairing and what can actually be
Absolutely.
resolved by you troubleshooting and thinking about the things to do. Speaking of things that we could do on our own and DIY projects with our phones, we might not want to do too much, but what are some like simple maintenance things that people can do with their phone that's not software related? You broke down very well what we can do software wise to maintain it. And I honestly felt like you were talking to me about my phone because I already know. But I have a very unique situation, and David, I probably, bring this to you after this and not take up time with my own issue. Or maybe if we have a little time at the end, we can use me as an example to troubleshoot my phone. But I have a unique situation with the software, the memory space in my phone. It's driving me nuts that I can't figure it out. And the people at Apple were frustrating me. So I took a break and said I'll go back later. But what are some maintenance things that people can do on a daily basis that can help with their devices to extend the life of their devices at home?
I would probably say that the first thing you can do is they say that the capacity of a battery is about 2 years is the lifespan, but you can extend that lifespan by making sure that you're not charging your phone all the way up to 100% every time. No
Man.
joke. I know that is so crazy, but you can probably charge that phone up to about 70% and leave it like that.
So don't put it on the charger overnight every night. That's what you're saying.
No, the phone is technically they came out with because that's what people would often do,
Yeah.
which is go to sleep and charge their phone. So they did come out with a software update where basically the phone stopped charging at 70,
Mm.
but you're still delivering current to that battery. It's very low, but you're still delivering the current to that battery. So I think that most people, what we do is tell them to set an alarm. and the alarm is specifically for you to just unplug your phone. That extends the lifespan of your battery, and it will extend the lifespan of your phone to at least another year. We do run into a lot of customers who have bloated batteries. That means the battery starts off really flat and it bloats. And so now your screen is popping up and you don't understand, you don't know why. And that's the reason why. It's because your phone is bloated. And I'm willing to bet you that you probably have had at least 15,000 charges since you've got your phone. And so we do test for those particular things. Like we can tell how many charges you have had on that particular phone. We can see how many times you've charged it to 100%. And so that's a main thing right there is I guess probably plugging it in. And when you plug it in, get ready to make sure that you're going to be unplugging it at 70%. Another major factor is making sure that you have the right plug. Because a lot of people think that just because the charger fits in your phone, that it's going to charge it. Well, here's something that most people don't know. If you go to Dollar General or if you go to Family Dollar and you get a $4 or $5 charger for your phone, you're gonna tear up your charging port. Your
Mhm.
charging port is those are knockoff chargers, and what they do is they may make it to fit as close as possible just for it to get in there and actually charge it. But what it's doing, it's actually tearing up your charging port because your charging port was made for Apple certified chargers, the same thing for Samsung. Samsung has USB-C chargers out there now, and the iPhone now has USB-C chargers out there. But if you're not getting an Apple certified charger or a M certified charger specifically for those phones, when you go and buy knockoffs, you're messing up the charging port, you're messing up the port that's inside of it. And eventually, when you start putting the actual charger that needs to go in there, it's gonna you're gonna have to move the thing around, shake it a little bit, turn it, twist it just to get it to charge. And we run into that all the time. That's one of the main things we're always replacing besides screen is charging ports and batteries. So let's make sure that when you're getting ready to charge your phone, you actually have a charger that actually goes to that phone. I always ask people all the time when they come in and bring it in, they're talking about their charging port. We ask them what kind of charger were they using. Were you using the one that came with your phone, or was it a phone, or was it a charger that you brought? And the next question that we ask them is, where did you get the charger from? If they tell us Family Dollar, yeah, you need another charger port. If they tell us, oh, I got it from Walmart, okay, well, what brand? When you look at the brand and we look it up, the brand will tell you whether or not it's M certified or if it's Apple certified. Whatever it is, it has to be certified. If it's not, and it doesn't specify that, it is not a charger you should be using. So definitely make sure that when you're plugging in your phone, you're plugging it in with the right cord. I could probably show you some pictures. I don't have them on me right now because I didn't prep them, but I have some pictures of how a charging port looks when a customer is using a screen. When a customer is using a cord that's not supposed to be on the phone, and I have a picture of a charging port that's never been tampered with, that's only been used with chargers that belong to their phone. And when you see the difference, you will understand what happens. Um, the best way to put that is that charger that you bought from Family Dollar, Dollar General is scratching up your phone. That's the best way to put it. It just made me think about it because I actually I was looking at this picture of a customer that we had replaced their charging port, and I had actually sent him a picture of what his phone looked like before and after, or what his phone should look like, and what it looked like because he was using a charger that did not belong. So I was looking that up real quick on my phone.
Yeah. And so it scratches it up.
It scratches the charging port. This thing called solder, and this when you put a charger in there that shouldn't be in there, it scratches that solder up really good. And
Oh
that
yeah.
solder is becoming it helps make that connection. So when you
Yeah.
put that charger in there and it's scratching it up, when you get ready to put a charger that actually belongs in there, it's already scratched up. So now you have to turn it and twist it and move it up and down to get it to act right. And so it's just not the best way to do
Got
that.
it. So what I gather from what you just said is to spend $90 on the right charger so that you won't have to spend $900 on repairing it. Got it. Okay.
Absolutely. And I
That's
actually have
smart.
that picture too, real quick. Just
Yeah, I don't
let
know
me
because
sort of
the
see.
screen is because you have the
Yeah, I
blurred
know.
background.
I know. I was just about to
Okay.
turn that off real quick. But look, this is what a charging port looks like when you've
Mm.
used it. You see all that scratch, all that silver stuff,
Oh,
that's solder. And so when you're scratching up your charging port like that. Scratching it up with the charger that does not belong. But this is what it should look like. Not this right here. This is just another picture of what I mean. That's all. You see all black and all of them scratches and all of
Mhm,
those little silver pads. This
mhm.
is what it should look like. Well, I might not have that picture. But you get you see the difference of what I mean.
Yeah, no, no, I definitely see what you're talking about for sure. And it makes so
Yeah.
much sense to be using something that isn't certified or made or created for the actual device. So for people who have the DEI spirit, as we're wrapping up this conversation around
Yeah, why?
at home repairs and how people can repair it, what would you say are some things that uh some tools or maybe things that people who are at home can have to help them keep their device good? If let's say there is somebody that's like you, that's like, I don't want to go to the repair place, I kind of want to fix the phone myself. Do you have some tools or essential tools that you use for repairs that the everyday person could use if they wanted to take that option? Or is it best to just call you?
And no, you can there's a toolkit called iFixit. You can get it at your local Best Buy, or you can buy it off Amazon if you're like me, who's very tech savvy and want to do things yourself. That is the only toolkit that I recommend right now for someone who kind of just starting off. Um, I wouldn't always recommend you come to me. I mean, you're helping in a way, but if I would say, thoroughly do some research. We're not the type of business that will tell you, hey, we're not gonna help you out just because you're not gonna bring it to us. That's not how we do. However, if you do mess it up, if you bring it to me, we will charge you extra. Just understand that. But we will help you through the process if we can. But yes, iFixit is the toolkit that I recommend. It's a $30 toolkit you can probably get from Amazon, or like I said, you can get it from your local Best Buy. It comes with the basic tools to repair your phone. I would not recommend doing anything other than a screen repair. If you do not know what you're doing, you can probably get away with doing a screen repair on your phone if you just want to save some money.
Okay.
Anything further than that, I do not recommend. When you're trying to take a battery off your phone, you can combust it and it could start a whole fire. So I'm not here to tell you you should
Yeah,
try that. I'm also
absolutely.
here to, I'm not here to tell you that you should try replacing your charging port either. Those are some pretty advanced repairs that you should definitely take to a professional. It's not something that I recommend you do at home. But replacing the screen is something that you can do at home. And the basic toolkit that I would definitely recommend is the iFixit toolkit.
Yeah, that's very good. Well, if there is somebody out here that's like who has that desire to do something like that, and maybe they're interested in getting into the device repair world, what's some advice you would give to anybody that's thinking about getting into this repairing device space and maybe either joining you or starting their own business with this?
Have some patience. That's one of the biggest things I could probably say to you is have some patience. It's definitely something that is going to test your patience quite a bit. Um, and when you're dealing with devices and electronics, especially customers, things that you're going to run into some situations where customers are very demanding. They want their stuff now, they want it right away, and you can't actually provide what they want, but you want to fix it right. Um, you know, if a doctor is about to perform surgery, you can't expect the family members, to be in that surgery room with them, right? They always tell the family members that they have to stay out. So that's so that they can focus, they can concentrate, they don't have to worry about emotion, that they're there to do a job, to make sure that family member comes off that table alive, because they're about to go through some extensive surgery. So make sure that you always have some good composure, take your time, and have patience with not with what you're dealing with, but with yourself. Have patience
Mhm.
with yourself, because that's something that you're gonna. I know that was something that I struggled with too when I first started, was having patience with myself. I was always so eager to do stuff and so ambitious and so ready to hurry up and dive into it. And so I had to kind of always slow myself down. I had to constantly tell myself, all right, let me just chill out for a second and think this through. And that's something that, when you're young and you're eager and you're ready to go out there and do it and dive in, you kind of you hit your head a couple of times. It will happen. But yes, be patient. Patience is that's a big thing. Be
Yeah.
diligent too, though. Be diligent and focus and stay focused.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. And that's really sound advice. We encourage people on a regular basis. The thing that I say is to tell people to be patient with themselves, to be kind and gentle with themselves. I say that on repeat. Someone deposited that into me years ago and it resounds in my head. Just be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, be gentle. And even one of my team members on a Zoom was making fun of me. They were talking to our cohorts and they said, I'm going to go in Miranda mode and I'm going to turn my head, like she says, and just say, have grace with yourself. So it is something that I encourage people to do often because our inner voices are always usually so critical, especially when we're trying to
Absolutely.
accomplish goals. And so we're very hard on ourselves, we're very harsh on ourselves, and then we're sometimes kind to others, and then sometimes we're more kind to people than we are to ourselves, and then sometimes some of us are as critical to others as we are to ourselves. It depends on where you are in life. So those are always things to be aware of, how you talk to yourself, what that inner voice sounds like. So I want to
Absolutely.
ask you, yeah, I want to ask you a question about, and I want you to answer these questions as quick as possible because I have some rapid fire questions that I want to ask you at the end as we're nearing the 11 o'clock hour. Also, to those of you that are joining us on the panel, I forgot to mention this throughout. If at this point you have any questions, you're more than welcome to drop those down in the chat box. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, I would love for you to get those in and we can get those in. So there's a chat button. It should be either on your phone when you tap the screen, or if you're on a computer, down at the bottom, you'll see the chat button and you're more than welcome to drop questions down in the chat group. I hope you have access to do that. So do you have a favorite device to repair? Just what is that device?
iPhone 11.
The iPhone 11. Listen, the iPhone 11 was one of my favorites. And then the only reason I got another one was because they made me upgrade it, ran out of space. And I went to the 15 and I wanted to go to the 13, but I went to the 15. Why the
I
11?
think the iPhone 11 was one of the most popular devices. But I could I can repair a Samsung in 15 minutes, relatively between 15 and 20 minutes. I can repair an iPhone 11 in like 7.
I
It's
love
very
my
easy. When Apple came out, and I mean when Apple came out with that phone, that's when they kind of made that change from the 10 to the 11. They changed the screen from an OLED screen to like a they merged the screen quality of it, and they made the cables that go from the screen to the phone. When the iPhone 10 was out, I think you had like 3 or 4 cables to
mm,
plug into the phone plug to take the screen off. I think when they came out with the 11, there was only like 1 or 2. So bam, bam. I mean, I'm in and out. I'm in and out. That's one of them. That's a quick surgery right there. That's why
yeah.
iPhone 11, and it's a good phone too. It was a really good phone. I mean, we're still selling 11s to this very day, and the 16s are out, but we are still selling iPhone 11s. That's a good phone.
I darn near want my phone back. Well, I have it. I still have it, but it's completely full to capacity. And it fit in my hand perfectly. It was the perfect size for my hand. I
Yes,
loved it. Okay, very
yes,
good. And so speaking of that, out of all of the phones though, is the 11 the one you feel like is your favorite? Like, and not just in repair, just when you think about the quality of all the iPhones, would you say that the 11 is the tops for you? Just curious now that you say that.
yes, yes. And I have to think about that because most people are going with the newer phones because of the
Sure.
cameras. I'm not really into pictures like that, so
Yeah.
and I think it depends on the person. But for me, the iPhone 11 is definitely up there because I mean, I got a 10 Pro Max is kind of embarrassing. I got a 10 Pro Max still on my for my work phone. I don't use it for anything other than texting, checking up on the business, making sure everything's good, some phone calls, maybe checking my emails periodically. But if I was really into, all of the different things for the phones, obviously I would go with the latest technology, which is the 16 Pro Maxes now. But yeah, the iPhone 11 is still my favorite phone.
Nice. All right. Well, I am going to I want to wrap up this with a few questions that are kind of rapid fire questions as we're closing out. But before I do that, do you have um any final thoughts about, well, no, actually I'm just gonna start with the questions and I'll do the final thoughts at the end. So here are some of the rapid fire questions that I have for you. And so these are questions that you answer really quickly and concisely. Okay, got it?
Okay.
Okay, all right. So Android or iPhone?
iPhone
iPhone.
all the
Okay.
way.
And what's the worst device you've ever repaired?
An
And you
LG,
can't explain it. What was it?
an LG phone.
An LG phone. What
Yes.
is the most underrated technology accessory?
Accessory,
The most underrated technology accessory.
Beats.
Beats. Underrated. What's the most overrated technology accessory?
I don't know if I can answer that one fast. Um, can we
Well, it
go to
doesn't
the
have to
next
be.
one?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said, can we go to the next one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be fast as in timing, just concise and fast as
Well,
in answer. Like it can't be like drawn out answer. You just gotta tell me what it is and we move on to the next question, is what it means by fast.
well, for now, we'll just say AirPods then.
Everybody,
AirPods.
I knew you were gonna say that. I actually own a pair of Beats and my son owns a pair of AirPods. I love my Beats actually. They're the yeah, I love my Beats. If
Okay.
you could if you could have dinner with any one person in the world, uh, and take them to dinner or lunch, who would that person be? Dead or alive?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Okay. And if you could go back to your younger self, which I still feel like you're relatively young, but your younger self when you first started this business, and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Slow down.
To slow down,
Slow down.
slow down. If you weren't running iDoctor, I know you said you wanted to be a doctor in the beginning, but now that you've had a little time to live a little bit more and experience what you've experienced, if you weren't running iDoctor, what would you be doing?
I I would probably go pursue being a doctor.
Would
I
you?
would. I would, like you said, I would have lived a little and uh I would probably just spend those 10 years that I did not want to do at the beginning of this process. I would spend those 10 years trying to become a doctor. More so a surgeon than anything, some
Yeah.
a particular type of surgeon.
Very good. Where can people, well, are there any final thoughts or words that you have for people? And then after that, I want to ask, where can we connect with you? Where can people connect and follow you on all social sites? So any final
Absolutely.
thoughts?
Yeah. Final thoughts is, iDoctor is here for you guys. Just want you guys to know that we're not all about trying to, bore you with a bunch of technology, but we're here to help. Think of us as your 911 to your technology. If there's anything wrong with your devices, if there's something wrong with you, you're gonna call 911. Well, think of us like that. If there's anything, and we're talking about from thermostats that, you have like a smart thermostat all the way to a smart refrigerator. We are here for you. So we're here to help. We're here to save you and your device. We're here to make everything back working properly. One of our biggest models are we bring life back to your device. So think of us when you're thinking of something on your device that's either going dead or not working right.
I love that.
But we're
Bring
here for
life back
you.
to your devices.
Yes.
Yeah. What were you about to say? I think you were saying something.
No, I was just saying that we are here for you.
I love it. And can you, for the people who might be listening via YouTube or replaying this back, how can people connect with you? And is there a phone number, a website, or is it social media? What are ways that people can connect with you? All of the ways.
All of the above. So our phone numbers for our office is 601-653-2643. It's a bit of a repetitive number in there, so I'm going to say that again. But it's 601-653-2643. You can reach out to us for anything regarding devices or electronics that you have, whether it's a question or whether it's some support that you need. We have different packages that will allow our technicians to be able to come to you on a regular basis if need be. We do services 5 different states currently, and we are growing all of our states. Right now, that's going to be Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So those 5 states are being serviced and we're constantly growing. You can reach out to go to our website and check out, find out a little bit more about us at www.idocdevicerepair.com. So that's IDOC device, DEVICE and then repair, repair.com. And that's all one word. And I'm gonna repeat that again for the people who probably are either trying to still write it down, but this is going to be iDoc, device repair, repair.com. You can reach out to our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, X now. I can't get past the fact that Twitter went from Twitter to X. But anyways, we're on all of those sites, and our tag names are all the same: iDoc Device Repair. So if you reach out to us on Facebook, you can just type in iDoctor. I'm pretty sure we'll be at the top of the list. Our team has done a pretty good job with our Google and kind of making sure that we're at the top of the list. But if you're not in our area where our office is, sometimes you have to literally put in iDoctor Device Repair Services, and we should come up. But yeah, Instagram, same thing, iDoc Device Repair. Go on our website, check us out, and check out our social media and see all the things that we're doing. We're getting everybody ready for the Super Bowl, so we've been doing a lot of TV mounting these days. But we do it all.
I love it. I love it. Well, do you do any workshops, tutorials, or resources for people to learn about device repair?
We are working on that. That's actually something that's in the making for this year, 2025. That's something that we're dedicating this year to educating people. So yes, that is something that when we have finalized everything, we'll definitely be pushing it out there, and hopefully we'll be even getting with the Bean Path and maybe seeing if that's something that we could implement to their program as well.
I love it. And I'll probably reach out to you to come over, be a part of our community as well. We have speakers at our monthly gathering, and I think the tech space will be a really good thing for people to talk about with their devices, how to incorporate technology more into the work that they do as entrepreneurs. So very good. Well, David, this has been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm going to leave you with my final question that I love to ask people on a regular basis when I'm either speaking at events or dinners or either just in these interview spaces. I would love for you to leave us with the question and the answer, really, of what brings you joy, David?
Seeing the look on a customer's face after I've repaired or helped them, they're like, "Oh my God, thank you very much. You saved my life. You have no idea what you've done. Oh my God, I had this, I had that going on." Seeing that act the interaction after we've helped somebody, it really does make a difference. That's actually one of the things that I really loved about wanting to be a doctor was, helping save lives. And so when I saw the interactions that I had with people after I helped fix something that they had that was broken, it made the same interaction. If you guys go on our Facebook page, you'll see this lady who we did a phone for, and she is very theatrical about her reply about her phone. She lived on that phone, literally lived on that phone, and she had a very, very theatrical response to us after we fixed it. So I do take joy in that. I take joy in doing what I do. This passion that we are in this tech world, I enjoy it. I enjoy every bit of it.
Very good. Well, David, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. I have loved listening to your stories. You're very good at telling stories and drawing people in, especially in the tech world. You don't get that a lot with people who can draw you into stories in that space. So kudos to you. And I hope you start to speak in more spaces because we could really use that in the tech space to be able to draw more people into it and understand it and be able to relate. So thank you very much. If you are listening and joining us in the replay, please, please, please connect to the Bean Path. If you are in the local Jackson, Mississippi area, there are physical ways where you can connect. They have the Bean Barn, where they have events and activities happening. Whatever you need, you can find it at the Bean, okay, the Bean Barn. And then they have the Maker Space, 2 buildings located in downtown Jackson, where you can go and do all types of things from 3D printing to workshops to sewing to knitting. I mean, it's literally so much you can do down there. And so get connected with your local maker space, the Bean Path. You can follow them on social media at the Bean Path. And then you can also follow them if you want to check their updates or what they have going on. You can go to their website, which is thebeanpath.org. All right. My name is Miranda Joyner. Again, it has been quite a pleasure being here with you all. We are here every second Saturday of the month. Join us for the next Tech Talk. We'll see you next month. Y'all have an amazing, amazing weekend. Thank you.